Hello and welcome back to my channel. I have another exciting video for you today. I'm going to show you how to solo Nex, or not solo Nex. Basically just going to berate myself on how I failed in every single way. Now, firstly, I didn't have any auras or potions activated here, and this caused me a lot of trouble trying to gain adrenaline in the first bit. Secondly, I didn't change to Noxbow before I tendrilled. I didn't even change it until 34 seconds into the kill, which is really bad. In this kill I had my potions ready and available, so what you do in a normal kill is you run up to this minion, click on it, and then drink your adrenaline pot, freedom, resonance, preparation, escape, anticipate, and then you're supposed to swap to your Noxbow and tendrils, except obviously I didn't do that there. Then you frag shot and walk away, and then snapshot. You're supposed to always walk your bleed, but yeah, don't examine. The next tip is to anticipate in freedom as much as you can so that you don't get dragged just like that. It's really terrible and you use a lot of food, and there's always the chance that you'll be in the middle when she goes there is, and you will die. Devotion also comes in handy in this phase, and when you get dragged, make sure you put your prayer back on afterwards, because it hurts. You want to try and frag shot before she says there is, so that she will walk her own bleed, and then you can phase it just quickly like that. When you get to Fumus, just use thresholds, it doesn't really matter, you just want to get it over quickly. A good idea when you're soloing is to bring Bandos boots and a malevolent helm to wear during the first two phases so that you don't get MD'd. Or Void. Void works well, but basically you don't want to waste your food on this phase running around, also wasting time trying to not die. Make sure you get off those shadows. Sometimes there's a bit of a lag before you click, it's a bit annoying, but yeah, just try and get off those as much as possible. You will find that if you wear the boots you will splash a lot, but you don't get MD'd, so it depends if you're really good at DPS or not. So once you're onto Umbra, you want to generate as much adrenaline as you can, so use your basic abilities, try not to use snipe, and try not to eat food, because that reduces your adrenaline. Use your brews, and just get your adrenaline up to 100% so that you can go into blood phase, and it makes it a hell of a lot easier. Now onto blood phase. This is a perfect example of what not to do. I ate before and I didn't have 100%, I'm not close to Nex, and then I just YOLO with the siphon. Really you should stand close, have full HP, snipe, and then use siphon, and try not to die, and DPS very well to get the phase over with. And if you do have an Excalibur, you should use that in the siphon as well, but I don't have one and I manage, so it's fine. And sometimes the YOLO is real. 668 HP. Also, like I said before, make sure you're full HP before you start siphoning, otherwise you end up stuffing up the blood phase completely and you just end up spending a lot of time trying to recover from it. Make sure you do your armor switch or boot switch before you start blood phase, so then you end up with more DPS and it works better. And make sure you escape from the sacrifices, unlike this noob. Just stands there. One of the big problems using Revolution and ability queuing is the abilities don't always go off when you want them to. So for blood phase you want to do snipe and then siphon pretty much one after the other, but sometimes ability queuing causes that not to really work properly and you end up wasting a few ticks, which could have been helpful if you had have been able to do it straight away. So you can either turn ability queuing off or use manual, but if you're learning it's probably not the best idea to use manual. If you're struggling on blood phase, kill the Reavers in between siphons so that when she does siphon next she won't heal as much HP. Make sure you escape from the sacrifices so that she again doesn't gain as much HP. If you do this, then you'll be able to recover from blood phases which aren't going so well. And sometimes RNG does not work in your favour, which is really frustrating. If you're siphoning on blood phase, I'd recommend that if you've gotten the HP down really far that you tag it again once you've finished, otherwise sometimes it won't phase over and she will heal or something, which happened here. I clearly thought that she had phased over, but then she gained HP somehow, and I went to try and phase it and ended up having to do double siphons. Sometimes RNG does work in your favour and you end up phasing Nex right on siphon, which is fantastic and wonderful when it happens. And it has happened to me a few times. A few too many times that I expected every time. And with a 9-minute blood phase, rage quit. And when you finally get to the end of blood phase, you want to just use all your abilities on Cruel. It's fine, just as long as you have 50% adrenaline by the time you finish Cruel, it's going to be all sweet. Just wait for Nex to demand sacrifice and then tag her into Ice Phase. She'll start on a contain, which is a lot easier to manage, so what you want to do is frag shot and tendrils, or tendrils and frag shot, and run away, eat up, and anticipate. It's about 4 seconds after, or maybe 4 hits after on contain, you want to anticipate before she does the prison. It's kind of important that you do this on time, otherwise you end up using freedom for no reason. And you can see there a lucky one that I had tendrils just before and anticipated just in time to be able to eat while in the prison. You want to stay at full HP on Ice Phase at all times to avoid drama. You can get into some quite pickly situations. I'm clearly not doing that right here, and I've got prison and I only just ate. Good idea is to resonance while you're in the prison, because then you can heal that 2k. And as always, make sure that you are walking your bleeds, because it makes life a lot easier when it's hitting 1k's over instead of 400s. You always want to rapid fire Glacier so that you can phase it into Zaros before the end of the contain so you don't get prisoned again. So basically you can use all your thresholds on it just so that you can phase it over. So if you're up to the minion and you've been prisoned, you can freedom and you can still attack the minion, which is pretty neat. Just gotta remember to keep your prayer up at the end of it, otherwise it's a bit painful. And now for Zaros. There is a way that you can walk Nex so that she doesn't hit you as much, but I haven't been able to figure that out yet. You just want to continue walking your bleeds and trying not to die when you're using Reckless on solo. Apparently you're not supposed to do that when you're learning, but I've been doing it and it's a bit of a pain on Zaros, but the rest of it seems to be fine. But yeah, most people say to do Death Swiftness on Zaros. It's probably a good idea. I've only done it a few times. I find it hard to keep up my adrenaline and not die at the same time because I'm using Reckless. I guess Nex is just too elite for me. It feels pretty good when you get kills under 6 minutes, only just, but yeah. When you get kills that are 9 minutes long and then you just get greeted with an RDT, it's just sucky. Like, why do they even exist? I don't want lobsters after a 9-minute kill. So that's it for my guide on how to not solo Nex. So reverse engineer all that and then you will be able to solo Nex like a pro and be better than me. I know this wasn't a proper guide for those who are just starting out at Nex, so I'll link a couple of videos that I watched to learn how to solo Nex. Also, duoing Nex helps a lot in learning all the mechanics, and I'd recommend doing quite a few hundred kills duo before trying to solo Nex if you've never done it before, or if you have low gear or anything like that. You just don't feel confident doing it first time, because you'll probably die more if you're trying to solo straight up first go. I mean, when I started soloing, I didn't die a single time because I knew how the mechanics worked. So it definitely does help to do duos first. Thanks for watching and have a great day.